After a big loss last week, your Vancouver Titans are looking to get back on track against JustWeavile and his Wolverhampton Weaviles in week 4 of the PPL. Before we get into the team builder, we have a few trades to go over since I felt a lot of the team was stepping on each other's toes when it came to roles, and with a trade offer I couldn't ignore, it was time to say goodbye to some team members. Slowking was traded away to the 𝗙𝗿𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗵, as well as 𝗙𝗿𝗍, Mousehold, Alone Sandslash, Wheezing and 𝗙𝗿𝗶𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗵 going back into free agency. In exchange, we got Iron Crown from 𝗙𝗿𝗍 and picked up Talonflame, Enamorous Therian, 𝗙𝗏𝗍, Lapras and farigiraf from free agency. Of course, with us dropping both Terra Captains, we had to redistribute our points and opted to give Zarude a single type in Poison and Lapras 3 types being Ghost, Ground and Fairy. Zarude felt like a no-brainer because it's a very good mon with Terra, and Lapras allows all my low tiers to be a genuine threat. Now this team feels a lot more like it supports my top tiers better, bridging some of my speed gaps as well, in exchange for the previous power that we had, but this team genuinely seems like it's going to be much nicer to build with than our previous team was. Now onto the matchup, and JustWeavile has a crazy strong top half of his team, with Palafin, Iron Moth and Thundurus being massive threats. Corviknight, Politoed and Terra Florges form a really solid defensive core alongside his second Terra Captain Palossand. Espeon and Virizion can be threats in their own right, and then there's his last three, Mightyena, Kamala and Terra Fracture, that in my opinion should never come to this game. With that in mind, a lot of my prep went into towards the 6 of Palafin, Iron Moth, Thundurus, Corviknight, Palossand and Florges. First up on our team we have Assault Vest Raging Bolt as a way of taking on his special threats, which to be honest makes up a lot of his offense. Thunderclap gives me great priority to outpace Palafin and Iron Moth, whilst Volt Switch gives us some slow momentum if we're able to take down Thundurus or Palossand. Draco Meteor breaks almost the entirety of his team and especially his switch-ins, barring Florges, and that's why we have Heavy Slam. Heavy Slam is actually able to 2-hit KO a max HP Florges, which unless it terrors, is going to immediately just fall over, and he might try and set up on it, so we end up being in a much more favourable exchange against something that realistically we have no right in beating. Since Raging Bolt deals with his special offense, Lapras makes his debut as a check to Palafin, his main physical threat. Water Absorb plus Terra Ghost makes it very hard for Palafin to hit me outside of Throat Chop, and that's just really weird coverage against my team. And the Rocky Helmet makes sure to punish all of his attacks even if I don't Terastallize. Freeze Dry is entirely here for Palafin whilst also being able to hit Thundurus, whilst the coverage of Thunderbolt and Earthquake hits the majority of his team super effectively. With that, we had one move slot open and I just put Liquidation on there because if he does set up the Rain, then it's able to deal much greater damage to a lot of its team. The last defensive piece for this week is another debutant in Talonflame. Being able to outspeed JustWeavile's entire team is really helpful, and Flame Body gives me the chance to burn his Palafin on a predicted non-water move. Brave Bird was all I really needed this week, since I can U-turn on the Thundurus if it isn't scarfed, and Taunt gives me a great way to check a setup Florges since we resist both Terras and Moonblast, as well as a way of preventing healing on mons like Corviknight and Palossand. Roost is just for longevity, but that might well be needed if we're able to 1v1 his bulkier pieces. Now onto our offense, and once again, Great Tusk looks to break open JustWeavile's squad. Since we get outsped by the likes of Iron Moth and Palafin, I opted for Choice Scarf this week. Not necessarily to sweep, but just to be able to break a bit easier without worrying about having to take a hit, and instead just being able to click the button. The combination of Headlong Rush and Close Combat are virtually unresisted in this matchup, so the last two moves were pretty free and I ended up going for Knockoff and Stealth Rock just for some utility should we end up needing it. Next up we have our new Terra Captain Zarude. Terra Poison is incredible here, with the best ways of breaking it being very weak to Zarude's natural stabs, so with that in mind I just wanted to make sure I run both. So we got Trailblaze and Knockoff, along with the trusty Swords Dance of course that gave us our first win of the season. Black Glasses allows us to pick up a 2-hit KO on every Pokemon at +2 at the very least, except for Corviknight if it's max defense, so we do have the U-turn so we can pivot into our Raging Bolt and immediately gain momentum back. Finally, our win con for this week and yet another debutant in farigiraf. Psyshock and Thunderbolt is able to do incredible damage to the entirety of JustWeavile's team, after a nasty plot in particular, and with only a Carmine Terra Steel Florges being able to really withstand the hit, forcing that Terra does just make it lose to Great Tusk and we still have Talonflame available. After an agility we outspeed his entire team barring Scarfers, and Armor Tail prevents us from being hit by Jet Punch. And whilst the Citrus Berry not only gives us health back, it could also bluff the 𝗙𝗵𝗄 and might be bringing Palafin in for the Jet Punch just for us to be able to pick up an easy OHKO with Thunderbolt. And that's going to be the team for this week. I really enjoyed building after the changes, and hopefully the squad is able to put in the work for the rest of the season, as we do need a strong run to make it into the top 4, especially from 1 and 2. If you haven't already, then please go show some support to JustWeavile. He's been an incredible help in improving my own content and make some of the best content in competitive Pokemon. Generally, just a really nice guy as well. And as always, if you're enjoying the content, then please do think about leaving a like and subscribing. And with that out of the way, let's get into the battle. Alright then, here we are for the battle against JustWeavile. What do you bring, Jack? You bring the Mighty Enna. Okay, this is a wildly different team to what I was expecting. There is a Virizion, there is a Politoed as well. Of course, the Palafin is here. I did not expect the Mighty Enna, but the Mighty Enna is here. Do wonder what that's for, but it might be like a Salt Vest to deal with my farigiraf, which would kind of suck. But I think regardless, like, there's no Corviknight, holy shit. I mean, 𝗙𝗿𝗏 looks fantastic here. Looks really, really good. Because I can SD into U-turn on the Virizion and probably do a huge chunk to it. So, yeah, it's definitely a very different team to what I was expecting. But here we are. Politoed could be a little bit annoying. But we are Water Absorb on our Lapras to not be Perish Trapped at least. Potentially Lapras has got a little bit more to deal with. I'd say probably has to deal with the Palafin, has to deal with the Politoed. Endgame looking like either like Scarf Tusk looks incredible. If we can position it right, it looks really, really good. So yeah, we'll go ahead and lock that in. He doesn't bring the Palisand, so therefore he does not have a Volt Switch immunity. So I guess I could have let off with my Raging Bolt, but I quite like 𝗙𝗏 as a lead. We can react. All Might, that's going to be you, of course it is. And I think I just want to SD. I don't think in any world you should want to stay in here. What can possibly come in that immediately threatens me? There shouldn't be a lot. I'm just going to click SD and see how he wants to react, because Mighty Enna could come in. There is always the chance of a Mighty Enna coming in, but we'll see. I think Virizion is more likely, and I am pretty happy to SD into... do I want to Terra Poison? Actually, do I want to do that? Mothra, well, I might not have a choice here. I might just have to Terra Poison. It is Booster. Is it Booster Speed or Special Attack? Booster Special Attack. Do we live? Do we live a Fire move? Do we live everything? I think we might live everything. Do we live an Overheat? We live an Overheat. And a knockoff in return would kill. I certainly don't hate that. I think that's what I'm going to do. This is one of the most threatening mons to my team, so just being able to Terrorless off bat will certainly be nice. And if he just happens to be slow for some reason, then we'll outspeed and we'll kill. If he Psychics here, that's an insane play. Overheat, according to this, should never kill me. We are faster. And that's a dead Moth. Okay, well I didn't need to Terror, but I didn't know that. Okay then. Strong start. Strong start. How did I outspeed? That's the real question here. How did I outspeed? Okay, well he hasn't got much to react to this with. A little bit sad that I'm not just Power Whip here, because my god, I would be going in. Because I think Palafin Hero... it might live a Trailblaze. Okay, you're coming in. I think I just want a U-turn. What can a Virizion actually do to me? +2 U-turn is doing a lot of damage. A Zen Headbutt doesn't do all that much. So I will just U-turn. I see Stone Edges. That shouldn't do too much. No, that doesn't do a lot at all. As we get a solid 60% off. Do I think he's Choice Scarf? I mean, if I think he's Choice Scarf, I can go into Tusk anyway, right? Yeah. Because if he's Scarfed into Stone Edge. If he's not, I will outspeed and I will kill it. I believe. I should do at the very least. We know it's faster than there's a Rude, but I got to assume that it's creeping there's a Rude, and if it's not, we should still live a Leaf Blade pretty comfortably. And nothing on his team really wants to take Swords. Okay, he is fast though, Leaf Blades. That's fine. I will take this trade. Wasn't Scarfed, so I could have just gone into the bird, but I didn't feel like that was necessarily the right play at the time. The end game for you is looking less likely, but the end game for farigiraf is looking more likely. So yeah, there is that. Yeah, Palafin coming in. So I think the initial play I just want to make is to go out into Lapras, and if he close combats, he close combats. Essentially, I should live 1 at, like, I should always live 1, right? Unless he's choice banded. Should always live 1, I believe. That's Raging Bolt, that's the wrong one entirely. If he's choice banded Adamant, then yes, we will die. If not, we might still die. Such is the duality of this Lapras. He flip turns with Water Absorb. Excellent news. If he's switching here, what's he switching into? Probably the Florges. If he's going to attack, he's going to close combat. So I feel pretty happy actually. Just if he close combats me, close combats, I'm going to go for a freeze dry, because if he's close combating here, then he is not choice locked, or he's not choice banded, and so he won't kill me with a close combat. Also, I apologise for the Lapras name. It was just, you know, a wave of genius, and by genius I mean probably not so genius as it may actually be. Okay, so freeze dry does all of 2, and he is leftovers. Okay, good to know. I do want to keep you healthy, so I could go into 𝗙𝗿𝗶𝗴𝗶𝗵. But 𝗙𝗿𝗶𝗴𝗵 doesn't do a whole lot because I haven't got Terra Blast. I could also go into my bird here. Yeah, I think that's better play. Going into the bird. And I'm going to assume that he is choice banded on the Palafin, which would make a lot of sense. As we see Calm Mind. Okay. In that case, I definitely want to taunt you. I can pretty much use Raging Bolt for this now. He could have Chilling Water, but we'll see. I will just taunt into probably letting my bird go down here, because it realistically doesn't deal with anything else on his team. Yeah, he waits for another Calm Mind, so something of a free turn, I guess, on that. But now we just Brave Bird away. We should be able to just 1v1 this, I believe, because we can just keep taunting. Okay, he's going to switch. And goes into Chubs. I feel like that's a Politoed. That is indeed a Politoed. Sets up the Lemon Drizzle. That's what I call my piss. You guys didn't want to know that. Yeah, so let's have a look at that damage. That looked like a lot of damage against just a regular ass fucking Politoed. So this thing could be specs. I could go into Raging Roger, but I think Raging Roger is going to be my way of dealing with the Florges. I'm going to go into Lapras. It's maybe a bit of an interesting play, but he shouldn't be able to Whirlpool me. He shouldn't be able to Specs Hydro me. And coverage from Politoed doesn't tend to do a lot of damage. Okay, so he's going to withdraw. And goes back into this. Okay. Now, you're not going to go for the water move, so I'm just going to double back into the bird. If I just U-turn there, I'll be in a fantastic spot, but tis what it is. I don't think we're necessarily in a terrible spot. And if we get a burn on this, we're in just an even better spot. But I feel like I can pivot around a little bit between our Talonflame and our Lapras here. And yeah, he just close combats. That's 100% banded. Any Flame Body enjoyers? Any Flame Body enjoyers? Yes, there is. Okay. That's kind of huge. We should now be able to 1v1 this with Lapras. I don't think there's much downside to that play, especially because he's got the Rain up, so now I can Liquidation his Florges for actually some decent damage. Let's have a look. In the rain, we're doing 30 to 36 to his Florges. And if he attacks here, then he attacks here, but, you know, it is what it is. He is going to withdraw, though. And what do we see? Surely it's... Yeah, I was going to say, surely not the Florges. Florges wouldn't make much sense here, I don't think. I can pretty freely just go for a Freeze Dry again. I might go for a Liquidation, expecting... Yeah, I think a Liquidation here is fine. Because he should go out into, like, the Mightyena or potentially even the Florges. Lamau, that is the Mightyena, isn't it? Yeah, that's the Mightyena. Okay, well, I never thought in my life I'd be calcing against the Mightyena. Holy shit, that just did so much damage. If it's max attack, crunch. Max attack, crunch would not do enough. Even if it's Adamant Choice Band, it would not do enough. So I'm just going to go for another Liquidation. Oh, Endeavor. That's a cool bring. I respect that. But Lapras is going to get killed on his debut. Big day. Huge day. So, if he locks himself into Jet Punch at any point... If he locks himself into Jet Punch at any point, we should be fine. Close combat from Burned. Should really not do a lot of damage to you. I think you're my win con now in this position, even more so than you were before. Can I afford to just let this go down? I think I probably can, because I can let it go down and then I can go out into my my lad and set up. So I think that's what I'm going to do, and if he tries to flip turn or anything funny, then yeah, he's just going to attack. We're going to get that Rocky Helmet chip. Happy to let this go down in exchange. And now I'm just going to go out into my Farigiraf. And I'm going to click Nasty Plot first. I think Nasty Plot first. Let's just have a quick look, see how much damage this actually does to 𝗙𝗿𝗶𝗴𝗶𝗵. Choice Banded, because it's almost definitely Choice Banded. I think we've managed to gain that much at least. A close combat. Do 39 to 46 from Burned. So I definitely could go into that. I could also roost up. A little bit more of a passive play, I guess. He's also locked into close combat, so I could go into you. But I think I actually prefer going into Farigiraf at this point. I think Farigiraf and then clicking Agility first. Yeah, I think Agility and then Nasty Plot. Because I do want to be faster so he can't Revenge. If this is max defense, I think I do need the Nasty Plot boost. We should always take one. We are specially defensive on this. So yeah, we should always be able to take at least one hit. And because we're Psy Shock, I think we're in a pretty good spot. He does Calm Mind. So depending on his investment, if he's just like max HP, max special attack, then we have a chance to KO from here. And if he ever decides to Terror into a Steel type, he's in a real bad spot. So yeah, we're going to do a good chunk. Moonblast does do a good chunk in return, but we're going to get our Citrus. This might make him think that we're Kudchu, but we most definitely are not. And I think this should just be a Farigiraf cleaning up this game, which you'd love to see. The new signing, Raging Roger's calm cousin, going absolutely crazy, and Alliteration going absolutely crazy. So if he goes out and tries to Jet Punch this, then we're fine. Always would have been. Insert meme of Call an Ambulance, not me. No, not that one. It's the one where he's got the gun behind himself. I know my memes, damn it. We should always be able to kill this, I believe, with a Thunderbolt. I will just double check. Yep, Thunderbolt should always kill this, unless it's Whackan. It's whacking these nuts. There's the kill, and yeah. Because we're agility'd up, we should always be faster than the Palafin, and he can't Jet Punch us. because of Armor Tail. So this is going to be a 5-0 win. Much needed after last week. I feel like I say this after every week. But yeah, we are Armor Tail. He's not going to be able to outspeed us with his Jet Punch. And that's going to be GG to JustWeavile. Make sure to check him out. Link will be down in the description below. We moved to 2-2 plus 3. Like if you join the battle, subscribe, all that bullshit. Until the next one, have a great day, guys. Peace.